Right, so what's in your energy today? Okay, so what the angels want you to know, and your ancestors and spirit team. Okay, so I'm tapping into somebody who's been healing. Okay, and what's happened is you've surrendered and ended some cycles, and spirit's saying to you that you're almost there. You just need to do a bit more surrendering. So if you do find yourself encountering blips or something like that, try to remember about surrender. Sometimes the mind can do sort of tricks on us and believe if we think about it enough or we torment ourselves enough about it, we'll get there. But the mind is, there's only so far the mind can work to some degree. So surrender is here. So please do remember this. Spirit also wants you to remember when you are surrendering to recognize that magic is all around you and God is everywhere. And spirit's asking you to trust your intuition more than whatever energy, other mental monologue you might have going on in your mind. Do your best to surrender and tap into spirit, into the magic of yourself and the universe. I think I'm tapping into somebody who is supernatural, so that makes me feel like you've probably got some spiritual gifts, and I wouldn't be surprised if you've had some sort of supernatural events happen in your life, or you may well start to encounter that, things that are just not easily explained by the 3D world and actually could very well be doubted. When I'm saying that, I'm also feeling like you've had quite a wild life in terms of it may not be understood by the status quo, like you've got some special knowledge, not so much just esoteric. I feel like I could be tapping into somebody rather special in terms of their life experience. So you've let go of people possibly that didn't understand this, that they haven't got the emotional vocabulary or stamina to understand who you are and what you're here to do. They can't metabolize the magic or spirituality at that level, or in fact your life experience. Maybe it's been eclectic, to say the least. Spirit wants you to know that you're actually heading towards abundance and prosperity, and we've got the money card here also, so for different decks. And this is because you've stood your ground and ended cycles with people that were deliberately held back support from you out of envy and jealousy. And Spirit wanted you to do this. It doesn't have to be that, but I am feeling that rather strongly. It's people that didn't know that you saw through them. And I think you maybe come across, it sort of feels like piggybacking off the energy of yesterday. I think I could be tapping into somebody who comes across as sweet, kind, nice natured, genuine, but also maybe on the naive side, and you had people somewhat taking advantage of that. And that's, to say it nicely, that's not the words I heard in my head. So yeah, these people had to leave, but now that you've left these energies, or at least going to end these cycles, I'm feeling an energy of like they feel somewhat like shame, that they've been seen. And I also inclined to believe so they should, because they were taken advantage when they shouldn't have been doing that. Right, so you have another energy in your energy field, as usual, and this energy is coming up as a player, because I've got two player cards out here. I got the player card come out sideways, so again, it doesn't have to be a player. It could be somebody that was just playing in your energy, but I do feel like some of these other energies were playing in your energy. Again, it may not have been intentional, it could well very not be malicious. They're just working with the deck that they have, but nevertheless the impact was just the same. But for some of you it really actually was deliberate. This person thought you were fake letting them go, and they were only fake letting you go, because we've got the love cards here and we've got always and forever. So this person, I'd be surprised if it's not a high level soulmate or twin flame. They have strong emotion for you and believe there's an eternal energy about that, and they spend time staying awake at night. I wouldn't be surprised if you're woken up in the middle of the night because of this energy. and this energy wants a second chance with you. But I do think you see these energies as low vibrational. You're just not a vibrational match as it stands right now. You know, who knows what happens next Tuesday, but right now you don't need energies around your energy field that don't understand you and are at that level where they're trying to take advantage, or some kind of comparative energy, like is it called leveling, when you downside, you downgrade, compare, so they're trying to push you down consistently, is the sort of feeling I'm getting. But essentially with the solitary witch out here, and of course not everyone's a solitary witch, but for me that just means like a magical person in living a fairly solitary life, and it's necessary to some degree, so you can start choosing which energies are around you, and be very, I'm hearing, strict about that, who is in your energy field. And I think you're becoming, or you are becoming strict. This person believes you'll be together again. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if you do wake up in the middle of the night. Like, you know, their energy is very strong. They want to apologize whilst they're going through this dark night of the soul. That I think they're starting to, we've got the card here that's saying, I woke up and realized this is real life. I think with the supernatural cards out here and the witch card out here, I feel like, and it's come into my energy before, I sort of feel like there's this energy that spirit's almost done like a little, used you in some way to trick these people. And that's I don't think that's the right word exactly, but that's all I can use to get close to what the feeling is. It's like cloaked you and sort of gave these people a false sense of reality a little bit, so they could learn this lesson the hard way. And I believe the cycles that you've ended are, and they are, if they choose to, they might just, you know, write you off and be like, well, she's a narcissist, or she's crazy, or liar, or, you know, whatever they need to do to help their ego to regulate themselves. But for those of them that are wanting to do the journey, they're very well going to see their shadow here and work with it. And I believe this person very well could be on their way to be doing that. I do believe you love this person to some degree, because it says there is love here, but ultimately you've chosen yourself. You love yourself more than these energies, rather than sort of overriding your intuition and giving people the benefit of the doubt all the time, when you know full well what's, you know, like I'd imagine with the supernatural here, you can hear their thoughts, you know exactly what's going down. You just we're trying to keep the peace instead of your own peace. Whilst you're manifesting this abundance that's coming in, for some of you, if it's money you're looking for, it is out here, but you know, it could well be other things that is going to help your well-being. Do your best to stay in that faith and trust, and listening to, and believing your intuition. And when you feel like that's sort of slightly wobbly, just remember to surrender. Surrender is the best way to do that. Spirit's recommending a spiritual bath, and that's come out a couple of times for me. I think just through energy rather than a card. So do think about that. I'm hearing black salt might help if you have been around energies that are of a slightly different, let's say different vibration to you, rather than lower, just for now. This person's energy over here, they believe this second chance that they want with you after the apology, that it will succeed. And they're planning to be in contact soon. Okay. At the moment, they're just spending a lot of time. I think when they're up at night time, they're thinking a lot about what you're doing, and they're sort of jealous about who you might be giving this supernatural, witchy, magical energy to. That's consuming their thoughts. Okay, so this person thinks you're very funny, and I did get a funny card earlier saying you're funny and pretty, and I chose wrong. So there might be a humour dynamic between both of you. Perhaps you have similar humour. I'm hearing dark humour, but again, put that where that fits. You know, humour is very necessary in reality. It sort of breaks, it gives a break to the seriousness of life, which is necessary. It says your kindness changed me, and it was upside down. I don't think this person, I think you maybe hoped, even with all of these energies, that your natural giving, understanding, loving energy was going to, you're going to get what you wanted, or at least deserved. And I think you full well knew eventually that that's just not going to happen. This person behaves this way, and I'm sure you know this, and you know, wears these masks, for example, because they're scared of getting hurt. I'm hearing, but they got hurt anyway because you've ended the cycle, so it kind of, it didn't work, if you know what I mean. I think you've started to recognize that this, I see you in my dreams, and we've been talking about nighttime and sleeping and stuff like that. So yeah, there's something about night going on here. I think you started to recognize that this was draining your energy. It required too much energy to constantly maybe like reinterpret everything that was being said. Oh, they didn't mean it. Oh, they, you know, they just, you know, they're not spiritual. Oh, they, you know, they have issues, they have problems. Like, you've chosen a solitary path of healing right now, at least, if not as part of your calling. I don't think this, I think you've got this person blocked, or people blocked, so they're unable to spy on you the way they wish. Yeah, so this person made you feel like you're not that great or something. I feel like they made you feel like an option, and you know, maybe not the best option even. So, you know, it's very different to the energy I'm actually feeling, what they actually feel about you. So again, I think this is a mask they used to protect themselves. And very often that sort of narcissistic energy is a sort of form of protection. So that's interesting. So up here it says, I know you see right through me, and it was upside down because I think these energies were behaving in a way because they thought you were so naive, you weren't really recognizing what they were doing. But you always did. In fact, you probably could hear what they were doing in their mind. I think I'm tapping into somebody that's that sort of gifted. And here it says, I feel like you see right through me, and that's what I felt earlier. Now they can see that you see right through them, and I feel like a feeling of shame, that's and maybe even nervousness that they're feeling because you know the truth when I cut on that deck. Okay, you know that there was a level of pretense going on here. I feel, yeah, like spirit's done some kind of like trick, like veiled you, and now they have to see themselves. And so this person's in the memory of you. They know you're not manifesting them. So if this person comes into your energy field, it will be, it's their doing. I think you're trying to move away from this energy, but they do want to talk to you. But I'm also hearing they talk about you. And you probably know this because we've got the High Priestess here, which is bringing me back to this supernatural energy and solitary witch. Maybe you even hear conversations. They do feel emotional about you, and they're unhappy without you in their energy field. I'm hearing that they played these games and masks and stuff and things, and made you feel like you're an option and not even the best option and so forth. It was a way to control you, and maybe since we've got deliberately held back support, that was also going on elsewhere. This is just for the collective, please, in God's will. Yeah, so they don't want to make you an option anymore, and they want to come rushing in. But we have got a Knight of Wands, which for me is an in and out sort of player behaviour. But the reason why the Three of Swords is here is because the player's now heartbroken. Okay, their games didn't work. And I'm also feeling for these energies, even though it might not be romantic, they were playing in your energy to regulate themselves, to make themselves feel better with somebody that they perceived as naive and potentially weaker, when you were actually much stronger and you could see everything all the way through, but spirit sort of veiled you. And now the veil has been revealed. You're the High Priestess. Okay, you saw everything. It feels like it was almost like a test, an exam, and Spirit used you. Yeah, so you're heading more into your motivation now that you've let this stuff go. Yeah, so I think you found this person drama, essentially. I also get the feeling that you just recognise that these people were interrupting your peace at the end. So you're sort of taking all this stuff that was kind of making you feel somewhat a little bit depressed, like all these jabs or worse, and then you just started to recognise that it's just ruining your peace. Yeah, and you just didn't want Seven Swords deceptive energy around you anymore, and you didn't want to deceive yourself anymore, pretending to yourself that that, you know, it's almost like you were putting a mask on them that looked better than it really was. And you got fed up of that, you got tired of doing that. We've got Nine of Pentacles here, which, you know, is self-sufficient energy, but I do think with the money and abundance card, you're heading into material comfort. I think this is Spirit's gift to you. Messages for collectively, Spirit and God's will. Yeah, you're healing from these energies and moving on from energies. I think that you had energies that gossiped about you. They're possibly prejudiced and exploitative. I feel this energy was particularly exploitative, but you're healing from this. And you're coming out of this Nine of Swords energy that they wanted you trapped in. Yeah, so you've had some serious pain go on here. And maybe it recycles in your memory a little bit. Tell me more, please, Spirit. Nine of Swords upside down and Ten of Swords upside down. Yeah, so you've ended this cycle, and the cycle's very painful. This isn't just a little bit painful. Maybe you didn't, when you were in it, you didn't recognize quite how painful it is, but the more you heal, the more the energy gets returned back to sender, and these people see that you actually saw them. And the more you surrender, particularly if you're finding it hard and you're being reminded of this behavior, you're going to just see just how painful it truly was, how unfair it really was, or you are. Yeah, these energies were making you weaker. So you might need to do a bit more healing. But I am being brought to surrender. So it's over. Do you see what I mean? This is over. The struggle's over. You've got your sword up as Queen of Swords. Yeah, this was toxic to you, and you've had to do some soul searching. But these people weren't giving you anything anyway. I feel like that this is like more than breadcrumbs. This is like a photo of a breadcrumb. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't even eat it. That's the kind of energy that you were being given. But this is the past. It's not happening anymore. I'll take a couple from here, Spirit, and I'll move on. Yeah, it's over, but it's coming up sideways because they don't want it to be the end of the cycle. Yeah, but it's justice that it's the end of the cycle. But just be mindful about your nice giving, nice natured heart, giving these people an opportunity to come in and just burden you and make you feel juggled. We've got a clock here, so its time is up on this, and then the snake is underneath that. So it's just competitive energy, and that's a reflection of them, not you. And it was exhausting you, seeing photos of breadcrumbs and trying to eat them. You're starving for like real connection that actually is authentic. Yeah, you're far too flexible. Not to have a go at you, but you were. Yeah, and these people only use upside down because they possibly made it clear to you weren't the only one, or they definitely gave you that energy, like, I don't know, just sort of like you're not valued. I will take that because I'm interested in what's on the floor. It's funny because what I feel's happened is that these people deliberately held support, or or deliberately were doing all these things because there was some sort of envy going on, and they were hoping that you would be distressed and isolated and just struggling essentially without those photos of breadcrumbs, and spirit stepped in. Spirit was always there, but it's almost like all they did was open the door wider. Okay, so your connection to spirit now is almost unmatched to anything that they're going through, like not that it's a competition. So this person was distracted with lots of options, and now they're healing from that because your energy is not there to heal them, so that they have to go through the path of healing whilst they're in this dark night of the soul. Yeah, then if they were choosing pleasure and things like that, I feel like it's not working, or distracting them, whatever it might be. Okay, so we've got lesson upside down, and I did get a lesson card earlier, and I don't think I mentioned it. Spiritual lessons being learned, and then the lesson upside down. So they didn't want to learn this lesson. Okay, that what their ego had been doing essentially. Maybe this person tried to make you feel like you weren't good looking enough, or in the 3D world there was something about you that wasn't enough. I'm afraid to contact you was on the floor. I honestly think it's on the floor because you don't much care. That's the energy I'm feeling. I don't think they want to be more. Maybe they have lots of friends with benefits or something. I was trying to make you one of them and make. I don't know. I think you see them as a snake. Wedding rings. And if it's not a full-blown snake, they're operating from sorts of snaky energy. I don't feel trust here. But they're tired of running and wearing this mask. Like that mask is becoming ridiculously heavy for them. It's like spirit's making it so heavy that they have to put it down and accept their feelings for you and what they were trying to do, which was feed you an illusion so you didn't feel good enough, and you would stay around. Yeah, this person's becoming a better person. They want to apologize, but honestly, I'm not really feeling. Yeah, I don't think. Maybe you'd appreciate an apology, but I don't. The energy I'm tapping into right now, at least, I just don't really feel like you're interested. I don't think you consider this person as somebody that could make you happy. Yeah, pain is falling out. This person, I think, these people gave you pain, and you were for a long time you were trying to say that photos of breadcrumbs is not painful. You know, like you can't even eat. You know, like it's not even a real breadcrumb. That's how bad it was. So you're not hoping for this energy. I think you see it as too much of a risk, and Spirit wanted you to recognize the risk that it was, because you were risking your supernatural energy, your gifted energy, magical energy around energies that were competing with you and doing their best, even if it wasn't consciously, to make you feel a certain way. And for many of you, you ended up feeling a certain way, yeah, and that was that you lacked abundance, you were in lack because of these energies, but it was them who were in lack, and they were projecting this energy onto you. Yeah, they crossed the line. They feel seen. And I feel like God is making them feel seen. And they have to learn a lesson. They don't want to learn the lesson, but they have to. They signed up for the lesson before they came down, and so did you. So you'd recognise your self-worth, and they'd recognise their behaviour also. Yeah, so you've detoxed from energies that at least you don't trust. You know, they may very well, yeah. And I think I did feel gossip early, and gossip's upside down here. I think that they have gossipy nature. Yeah, you've gone through a transformation, and it's just listening to your intuition and surrendering. Before you didn't want to listen to your intuition the way you are now, but it was the listening to your intuition that allowed you to break free, like, you know, end these cycles. Yeah, so this person, yeah, I think you know they want to get whatever they chose over you, and I'm feeling player energy. They want that to end, and I think it's because it's bothering their abundance. It's almost like, and again, it doesn't have to be money, but it could have been about money. Now you've realized that these people weren't contributing to your abundance, your well-being, and your overall happiness. It's like now their abundance is affected. It's like almost like energy theft. So this could very well be your twin flame, and we've got one day here. This was your energy once upon a time, and with all these energies to agree, oh, one day they might, you know, stop taking photos of breadcrumbs and, you know, posting them to me. Maybe one day they'll, you know, we can eat a loaf of bread together on equal footing. And you started to recognize, no, that's not going to happen one day, and you've given up. Now they are in that energy of, oh, I hope one day they'll send a photo of a breadcrumb to me. Like the now is the roles are switched. Yeah, you've escaped. Yeah, you've two escape cards, and then separation upside down. Yeah, so maybe the jealousy card is upside down here because you just don't want this energy around you anymore. Maybe for a long time you kept telling yourself, oh, it's not, you know, maybe you suspected that you have to be absolutely perfect for somebody to be envious or jealous. No, you know, like when you're working with insecure people, it could take anything, you know. It doesn't take much, because they're working from a deficit as opposed to working from contentment. But essentially it brought you stress. But these people, although you've escaped, these people are hoping that this isn't a permanent separation. And they're doing that so that it can alleviate the sadness that they're feeling inside. So sort of like, oh, she'll be back at one point, or he'll be back at some point. You know, they're just going through things and stuff. Maybe they don't actually really see me. Maybe I'm just imagining that they really saw how I've been behaving, which is, you know, working from a place of lack and pushing it onto the other person, hoping you didn't listen to your intuition. But you have, and you did. And God watched it. The spirit team watched it. Spirit stepped in. They'd been veiling you all the time. Now they have to learn the lesson. The lesson they don't want to learn. Messages for the collective, please, spirits. Maybe there's something intimidating about you and you're sort of like, no, there's not anything intimidating about me, but I think there could well be. Yeah, so we've got a few sort of trust cards out, like trust your intuition, surrendering and things like this, and it says intuitive journaling. So if you do find yourself getting into, you know, tapping into these energies that, you know, you feel uncomfortable about them posting you know, photos of breadcrumbs and imagining it was good enough, journal about it if you so wish. Of course, this is just guidance from spirit, you know, it's not law. Yes, and spirit just wants you to trust yourself a bit more. Okay, there's still room to trust yourself more, but you took a battering. We got the 9 and 10 of swords upside down. That's what you came out of. It doesn't get more painful than that. I literally think you were starving. You were in pain how much you were starving around these energies, because they were giving you so little of true goodness, at least. But yeah, if you do encounter fear, do your best to move through it, because we've got move through fear here. And we've got a grounding card, and grounding card has been coming out a little bit, maybe not every day, but for the last week. And if you are working, you know, since we've got the magical card out here, God, magic everywhere, witch, I think you're tapping into spirit in a way you possibly haven't before, which is ramping up your intuition. But you need to ground yourself too, because if you're getting to a level where you're really truly understanding the kind of level of pain that these people may have deliberately put you in, it might be uncomfortable for you. But just know it's not to excuse the pain or, you know, explain it away, and, you know, so meaning that these people don't need to take accountability or anything, but move through it. It's happened. You learnt the lesson. Yeah, release old patterns. Just do your best to sort of fly above it. Okay, it's part of your calling. You needed to go through this, and again, I'm not excusing behavior. The ship let your ship sail. You're on the ship. This is on an island far away from you now, but you remember the island, okay? And it was just, there wasn't even breadcrumbs, it was photos of breadcrumbs. And I'd imagine, I just sort of feel like a niggling energy, like it annoys you at the very least, if not does anger you at times. But it allowed you to connect to spirit more. The pain almost like it broke your heart to a place where the space could come in, God could come in. But I'm not excusing anything, because obviously there's nothing nice about that. Okay, I better stop. Yeah, these people are draining your energy and they're manipulative, okay? Which I'm sure you know. And essentially it happened because they were wounded and they were karmic in your life. You've learnt the lesson. Very well could have been a friend. We've got Leo here, but doesn't have to be twin flame. So this is what was happening, okay? And I think these people want to come back, but you don't want them to come back. And the more you heal, and it said you were almost there at the beginning, okay? So just surrender a bit more when you're encountering this, and it's going to return back to sender. And cover yourself with white light as well. But of course, it's just suggestions. You don't have to take them. They're just here. But these people, ultimately, they weren't genuine enough for you. They're just not your vibration match. Thank you for being here, Archangel Michael. Please look after myself. Please look after the collective. Please protect us. Please bless us. So mote it be.